Thank you for tuning into the latest episode of the Splashcast, your go-to podcast for news and discussion in the world of sports. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 162 of the Splashcast Monday Night Raw. I'm your co-host, Reggie.
I'm your co-host, Norwood. Our powers combined. We are your HBCU homeboys, and thank you for either listening late at night as we hit Monday Night Raw or early in the morning as your first listen. It's your favorite podcast.
We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. Know what it is. Y'all know what it is. First pod back. First day out the Fed. Shout it. Your boy is here.
That boy Reggie back.
I'm happy, man.
It's the Magic City.
Make it rain on your forehead.
Everything happened. Everything happened while I was away. I was like, dang, dog. Is this how I feel? I ain't gonna say that, but is this how I feel to go to prison? Like, you go away and then come back. Like, it seemed like everything in football happened the week I left.
Your team won and lost in that time period, and and you missed one of the just you missed one of the craziest. Yeah, you missed the craziest weekend of college football so far. Easily.
Yeah. So I'm here to catch up, but luckily we won't miss this crazy week in football. So y'all know what it is when it comes to the Splashcast. We do our Monday Night Raw. We do HBCU news around the culture. We did our pregame. Go back and listen to it. We talked about some of the news in the NBA, especially the Knicks versus Jeanty.
Sometimes you got to be ready to fight your friend's dad.
I never again. 2024 bingo card is like, I'm on bingo card number 11. I ain't had nothing.
It's Cat Williams. Cat Williams opened the portal, and then things just, as soon as he sat on Shay sofa, it was never the same. Cat Williams is a sorcerer, and I need y'all to understand that.
Time traveler.
And he creates these parallel universes. He goes in, and he's like the Riddler and just causes destruction, or that weird cat from Alice in Wonderland that I never trusted.
Oh, well, that's because it's drugs. That's what Alice in Wonderland was about.
Do you like drugs? Little Miguel,
huh? Let's get to some of these scores, man. We're gonna do the CIAA first. Winston-Salem State beat Shaw 34-14 in a great game. Winston-Salem State seems to be for real. That defense, I don't think they've allowed more than 21 points this entire season. So that defense is for real. Shaw, I mean, struggling a little bit, but it is what it is. Union flexing its muscle.
Whooped Elizabeth City 35-0. It's nuts. You just watching.
Flexing their muscle.
That wasn't homecoming.
Nothing, boy. Well, I mean, yeah, you can't. Yeah. I hope it wasn't homecoming.
No, 35-0 at homecoming is rough. That'll get you fired.
That'll get you drunk. Like, you just leave early or just never come into the stadium.
Oh, no. It's homecoming. You was going to get drunk anyway. Oh, that's what I forgot. I need to find an ad since we talking about that.
What you talking about?
That's fine. Yeah, 35-0 is rough. Lincoln wins 35-13.
Hey, I said Lincoln wasn't that good at the beginning of the year, and they are clearly good. I believe.
Listen to the podcast.
They are 1-2, but they have not been blown out this entire season. Virginia State, the two Virginia schools who we did pick to play in the CIAA championship, State and Union, are starting to come around and flex their muscle now. Bowie,
yep.
Woo, Bowie, 1-3.
Y'all had all of them. No, you know what? That's wrong. I'm getting them confused with Morgan. Yeah, Bowie, you just got whooped.
Yep. And shout out to Livingstone, 3-1. One game out of the lead behind Virginia Union and Johnson C.
That's
Smith.
Crazy.
Livingstone
did not see that. That was nope. Didn't expect that. But congratulations.
Now you got Johnson C. Smith and Virginia Union, all at 3-0 and 2-0 in the conference. And then Livingstone and Winston-Salem 3-1. Virginia State lurking at 2-2. Shaw is 2-2. So you still have you have 6 teams vying for 2 spots. So we told y'all in Saturday Morning Live, this is going to be some really, really good football. We told y'all it was going to be some good football, and it has been. If you have a chance, tune into the CIAA. A lot of times they're on ESPN Plus or on HBCU Go or the Grio or something like that. They're on a channel, and they're playing, as well as the SIAC too. So shout out to the CIAA.
And even if you're not going to watch, turn the damn TV on, man. We have to stick together as people who support HBCU.
Ratings.
Cut the TV on, man.
Put it on mute
if we want to see them, if we're by any means at this point, we got to do what we have to do. We got to show proof of concept. But yeah, as far as that goes, more X and CIAA football. Let's move on to the MEAC.
I was trying to get to the SIAC.
Well, while Reggie looks, let me tell you, SIAC, it would be really nice if you would post the scores like the CIAA, and if you would post the standings like the SWAC. We would really appreciate that as HBCU graduates, supporters, and that's a lot of our podcasts. Make it easy for us to talk about you and your players.
Yeah, we would appreciate it. I do have to go to ESPN, but I did get it. Miles is 4-0, so Miles did win. Clark Atlanta, 4-1. In the conference, 5-1-1 overall. And then Fort Valley is 4-1. Albany State 3-1. Tuskegee 3-1. Savannah State 2-2. Who knew? Then you have Benedict at 2-2 as well. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. I'm not gonna count Kentucky State yet in the SIAC. Not gonna count them yet. Terrence Mathis at Morehouse did get a win, so shout out to him. But this top 6 teams, top 8 teams, I'm telling y'all, this month of October and November is gonna be a slobber knocker, Shadeur.
And now we are deeply entrenched in homecoming season. So yeah, you might get your ass cut on the day that everybody is there. Govern yourself accordingly.
Govern yourself accordingly. Let's move on to the MEAC. MEAC. Howard beat Sacred Heart 21-14. Central beat Virginia University Lynchburg. So I think that's going to be one of those smaller schools that's just playing a MEAC schedule, getting paid their money games.
Gave up 33 points in the first quarter. Boy, talk about a long damn day.
That's one thing I don't miss about. That's one thing I don't miss about football. When you getting beat down, I can see it in the fourth quarter. If you're down by 7 and then they score 2 or 3 times in a row,
it's out of it in the first half of the first quarter.
That ain't number practice then. That ain't number tackling drills for the next 3 hours.
After you done practice all week. It's just more practice, coach. And as soon as you get back in there, the tape is not going to be of use. So what y'all going to do? Just going to run instead?
Run.
Oh, this is terrible.
Run and hit the sled over and over and over. Drive. Ooh. Flashback.
That's that offensive lineman practice. That's the reason I had no interest in that.
Coach, if you messed up, Coach, that was punishment. Didn't matter what you played. Offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, quarterback. Sled. So
Bear crawled me to death. At least I had a little rhythm with that. After you get it going,
I throw up on the bear crawl.
Also, because I knew you can kind of gallop with it and cheat. Also, Paul George hyperextended his knee against the Hawks. So, wow.
Oh, he's out for the rest of preseason. Towson.
You said Towson?
Rest of the preseason. Well, I mean, that's a week.
Oh.
I mean, it might be longer than that. Pause necessary. Towson beat Norfolk State. Norfolk State has to be the best sorry team in the MEAC. They always lose by 1 score. They lose by 1 score and they play tough and have a chance to win almost every game. And except for Central. No, they play Central tough too. But
they got a new quarterback.
Another one?
Vincent Berry is not. It's not either one of the guys they started the season with. Yeah, Vincent Berry, 16-31, 221 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, Kevon King, not to be confused with Kev on stage, 15 carries, 96 yards, 2 tutties. Ooh. And I guess this is Xavier Evans, 9 carries, 45 yards. They had a day.
They just couldn't stop. They couldn't
Towson,
stop a
Sean Brown,
nosebleed. Yeah.
25 of 43, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns and 3 picks though. Jesus.
So the defense gave y'all a
That's
chance to
something.
win the game. Norfolk State, I look for them to build on this next year. Morgan State, what happened? Y'all were supposed to be a strong team with a good defense. Well,
With all those MEAC players, preseason MEAC All-Americans, didn't turn into nothing. And Dale State, speaking of nothing, you didn't score nothing. No points. Zeroed. Well, at least it wasn't 68. It was only 23.
But we knew that was going to happen. We knew.
Yeah.
we knew.
The Robert Morris colonizers. Yeah, that's tough.
So, but the MEAC does have some good games coming up. I will say they do look like they miss FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. But hopefully they'll get it together.
No, they don't. Well, they might miss Cookman. They definitely miss Cookman. FAMU probably runs away with this other than Central.
No, FAMU and Central. And Howard. FAMU, Central, and Howard play.
I don't think that Howard. I think that FAMU and Howard. I think the FAMU is one step up above Howard.
Yeah, I would assume so. Going to the SWAC, Arkansas.
Because I don't think that Hampton would beat FAMU, and we beat Howard.
I think it would be a good game, but we'll see. Moving on to the SWAC, you got Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Prairie View. Shout out to Pine Bluff, their first SWAC win in over 18 months. I think it's in 2 years. Beating Prairie View at home. I actually watched this whole game, and it was good the entire time. So shout out to them, man. I'm happy for Arkansas, Pine Bluff. That coach gave one of the best speeches of all time at the beginning of the year last year.
Yes. And I started this game, and Prairie View looked like they were just going to destroy them, which will be, par for the course. And then it's like they just lost their mojo and just never could find it again. And shout out to the Fast and Furious behind us. That's what's up. Well, but yeah, this is a great win.
They have a defense, and they've always had one.
And Bubba McDowell looked like he had PV going, and then it just it fizzled. That's the only thing. It fizzled.
Yeah, UAPB's Arkansas Pine Bluff's defense is suffocating. They don't really miss tackles. They can get to the quarterback, and they play pretty good on the back end because you don't have time to do anything. They may not do enough on offense, although their running game got going, and it's that same offense that everybody runs now, the spread that's really more like a spread wishbone type of thing. But once they get the first down, and that's what they did the whole second half. They just got the first down, and then they just rolled downhill the whole time. And they kept scoring. So shout out to UAPB. Didn't see, I'm not gonna go in order. I'm gonna go by what I see, what I like. Didn't think that Alcorn was gonna beat Grambling. Didn't think Alcorn was going to hold Grambling to 15 points. Didn't think Alcorn was going to win by scoring 17 points. Didn't think that Grambling, with all of that firepower and all those points that they put up against Jackson State, was going to lay an egg like this. I don't know if this was at Alcorn State, more of a big up to Alcorn State or an indictment to Grambling. But something happened. Something happened at that game.
I'm going to say, Grambling, you got to win the games that matter. You have to win them. And you got Crawley, and I just knew that he was going to kill it. 16-28, 149 yards, and the interception ain't going to cut it. It's not good enough. And then they talked about, I've seen where they talked about possibly swapping him out. I think that's a little egregious, but
already?
I mean, it's life. Bad part is you lost to a guy who went 10-18 for 149 yards. Y'all played the same game.
This was a struggle game, dog. Yeah. Somebody kicked the field goal and somebody didn't. That's what it looked like.
3, 6, 3, 7, 0, 3. Ooh, that's it's terrible.
It was ugly.
But that's what you want to see sometimes, man. It's a balanced football game between two good teams. Who's going to finish the game out, and that's a lot of what college football was this entire weekend. Can you
Now,
finish it at the end of the
right.
game?
You right. At 15, 17, 15, if you watch that game and I saw some of the highlights, they were hitting out there. Grambling, if one thing Grambling going to do since the days of Eddie Robb, they know how to hit, form, tackle. They can do that. Now, the offense ain't do nothing, but the defense, whew, they were hurting folks.
Mississippi Valley State, my Lord.
We'll get there. Well, okay, we'll talk about it.
Lord.
I don't know which is worse, Mississippi Valley State or Bethune-Cookman. Alabama A&M won their homecoming against Cookman 56-12. Boy, Cookman, y'all lost to Clark. Y'all done got beat 56-12. Y'all having a rough go. And then Alabama State beat Mississippi Valley all the way back to Virginia. Kicked them, put them on vacation, if you want to say, 54-17. So
Alabama had a good weekend.
HBCU wise,
HBCUs, yeah.
College football wise, they won and lost at the same time.
I feel like they're pretty happy with that win though. Could have lost to Vandy again
in South Carolina. We'll talk about it,
exactly.
But I also want to talk about Southern. Hey,
look at your boys. Look at your boys.
I don't even know who the quarterback was. They played. I know they didn't play Biden. Mr. Throw the ball backwards. He was awful. But they won 22-19. They actually came back and won that game because Texas Southern looked like, again, another UAPB game. Texas Southern started out. I thought they was about to run Southern out the gate.
Southern doesn't score in the first half. And Texas Southern goes in the half with going up 14-0. Then you just 5 points in the fourth. And Southern has 12 points in the third and 4 in the seventh and then 3 in overtime. Yeah, you just didn't show up for the second half of the game, that is a problem. That is going to be related to coaching. Whether it is or not, if your team just doesn't really show up in the second half and all you get is a safety and a field goal, looks like looks like coaching.
Stats? Do they have the stats of it? I just want to see who the quarterback was for Southern.
For Southern, Noah Biden, 13-32, 181 yards and 1 touchdown. And I guess this is Xavion Tissett. 2 attempts, 1 completion, 6 yards, and it was picked.
Oh, that was the freshman that got hurt. I thought he was going to show out. Dang, Biden, and I don't like you. But hey, Southern pulled the game out 22-19.
He didn't play great. 13-32 is it's a lot of incompletion.
Do you know how bad you have to be that we would prefer you to throw incompletions? If you could throw 19 incompletions with no interception, we are okay with that. He could have went 8 for 32.
But you're playing against a guy who went 13-30. Y'all both were just throwing the ball to nobody.
Throwing it in the ground.
Nobody, baby. You just throwing the ball.
So the SWAC standings, man, you have, again, SWAC. I'm going to give y'all, I like y'all posting the standings. I'm going to give y'all a bit of advice. You should call these divisions. The SWAC East and the SWAC West are divisions. The conference is the SWAC, Southwest Athletic Conference. So when you're posting this, you should put division record, then maybe have a conference record, because technically, if we go over to Southern is not 2-0 in the SWAC. They're 2-0 in the SWAC West. But they lost to Jackson State. Hey, how do I get back?
Damn, Grambling.
Yeah, Grambling out there shucking and jiving. Hey, how do I get back? With a back button.
Just right to your left. But yeah, the West. Alcorn cool enough, Southern cool enough, but I think this is an East-driven conference.
Yeah. You got FAMU, big game coming up. You got FAMU, Jackson State in a nationally televised game. Actually, nationally televised game by 2 ranked teams. I believe Jackson State, FAMU is ranked higher than Jackson State. I think FAMU is in the teens, maybe 17, something like that, and FAMU is 21. Jackson State is 21 and FAMU was like 17 or something like that. So it's going to be an interesting game, to say the least. I really can't wait for
it. We're getting better and better into this part of football where everything matters. And we're getting closer and closer to the conference championships, Celebration Bowl. there's a lot of good football here
Bayou
every
Classic.
week.
Got a lot of classics coming up. You got all of those classics about to play out. So I can't wait for it when it comes to HBCU football. Southern. The SWAC is always wide open. The SWAC West, the Wild Wild West. Nobody wants to like take control of that division, and because there's so much movement every year now, you really don't know what's about to happen out there. SWAC East is pretty stable. That's top 3, top 2, and then everybody else.
But the team at the bottom of the conference is the one that we thought. It's a bizarro world, man.
Yes, sir. But, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the HBCU segment of our episode 162 of the Splashcast Monday.
And as we have come to the end of the HBCU portion, we have come to the drinking portion. Come back with your beers or beverages, and we finna have a good time and laugh and cry and cry and laugh.
I ain't really about to cry.
No, this ain't your weekend to cry. But if you're Ohio State, this your weekend. This your weekend to go cry in the car.
We'll talk about it. I don't think they're as down bad as everybody thinks, but we'll see. Always remember, like, follow, subscribe. Go get you a beverage. We will be right back. Y'all stay tuned. Catch our latest episodes and stay updated with the world of sports by tuning in to the podcast live on Mondays, or catch the re-air on Dive Team Media Network, where you can also check out other Dive Team Media content as well. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our football segment of episode 162 of the Splashcast Monday Night Raw. We appreciate y'all for tuning in with us. We're going to start out with some college football, take a break, then we're going to go to pro football to round out the show. Always remember, like, follow, subscribe, and go back and listen to the pregame and HBCU segments if you have a moment. Where do we want to begin? I'm going to start out with the 3. I'm not gonna let you sulk yet. Not gonna let you sulk. I'm gonna let that stew. We're gonna start out.
There ain't no sulking here. Ain't no. You see, I'm suited and booted. Gator blue, Gator hoodie on. I'm here. I'm here to rejoice. My team is blessed and highly favored. We're moving in the right direction. Things are finally going the way that I've been hoping for them to go. Let's get to it. Whatever you want to do, dealer's choice.
We're gonna start out with the ranked games. So you had Oregon and Ohio State. Ohio State, for as much bravado as Ohio State has, they did win the first college football playoff 10 years ago. So you have that to be able to say.
Does that matter?
Yeah, because they're in that era. They're in the era. They won in the era. But ever since then,
winning the first. I don't care about the first.
Well, I mean, they could always say how many have you won, and there's that. So, yeah, college football, the playoff era, it's 10 years now. So
I get,
but Oregon won. Oregon won on a blunder by Ohio State. I have to give Oregon more credit than I did. I thought that they were going to get just pummeled by Ohio State. I think I said Ohio State is better at every position.
You did.
The first quarter, I was like, oh, this about to be a blowout. Oregon out-schemed them. Now, I will say, shout out to Oregon. They out-schemed Ohio State and Chip Kelly, which is
not
surprising.
Easy to do.
That's surprising because Oregon's receivers were just running wide open the whole game. But Ohio State's quarterback, I don't even know what he really does. He slides at the end of the game thinking that he was going to be able to clock it or get a chance to clock the ball in order to kick the game-winning field goal, and he ended up not doing that, to say the least. And they ended up losing by 1 point, if I'm not mistaken. So if they lose by 1 point,
this is
what it is, 32-31.
Now, there have been rumors floating around that Dan Lanning basically Jedi mind tricked them at the end of the game and put 12 players on the field, resulting in a penalty that cost them 5 yards. but it ran 4 seconds off the clock. If he really did that, salute. That's real football. That's
Chess.
That's
That's
a
chess.
real strategy. Yes. If not, you are one lucky mofo. With that said, I hated to see, and y'all know how I feel about Ohio State. They can go to hell. I hated to see them lose like that, though. That was a tough way to see them lose. You just knew he was sliding. There was going to be like 1 second on the clock, and then there was no seconds on the clock. And the game kind of ended unceremoniously. You just knew that there was going to be one more Hail Mary, and we're going to see this play, and then we get to laugh in their faces. They all lose. Nope. You just ran out of time. Game over. The end. Kind of dry.
Yeah, it was anticlimactic for sure. I will say I don't think this hurts Ohio State as much as people think. I will say Oregon, they have announced themselves as they are now, I think, number 2 in the nation.
Who they got left?
They're in the Big Ten. I'm sure they got to play some people. But
Are you?
Oregon wins a thriller. Will Howard, this is him, as you can see, sliding with no seconds left on the clock. As they're trying to call timeout as soon as he slides. Now, I've seen so many deep dives by the Ohio State Buckeyes into he really started sliding with 2 seconds left. The slide starts as soon as he starts sliding. There should be a second left, call timeout, et cetera, et cetera. No, bro. There's nothing that you could do here. You still have to allow time for human error. They still have to process that you're sliding and still have to blow the whistle and then have to call timeout. You can't do all that with 1 second.
Yeah, I would also say that some of that is just coaching. You have to know with 6 seconds left, you're probably not going to get another play. So you got to call a better one, and you have to communicate that to your quarterback just in case. With that said, none of us are butthurt about Ohio State. Once again, they can still go to hell. I'm happy they lost, and Oregon is going to win out. All they have left is Purdue. That's a win. Illinois. That's a win.
You ain't looked at Purdue at home against ranked teams, have you?
I'm not. Hey, Purdue, Illinois, Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington. Do the needful. Get it done and go on home. This probably puts you at 2 or 3.
They're 2 now.
In the country.
In the AP poll, they are number 2. And if they win out, I don't see anybody beating them. I don't see anybody because they do have kind of a soft schedule, but they don't have outside of Ohio State. But there's nobody to beat them now. And if they take care of business and beat them down like they're supposed to, shout out to Dylan Gabriel. Man, you look like Tua out there. All them anticipatory throws. He was throwing it before they even was out the break.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me I look like Tua. Don't tell me. We're going to talk about him in the NFL. That's the last person.
Tua on the field.
I'm
before
trying to
he gets
look like.
You look like Tua as a pocket passer. Is what I mean.
Now we can look at Ohio State and see what they got left here. They got Nebraska. They'll beat them. Penn State. Yeah. That's it. Penn State. Michigan is a shell of their former selves. Indiana's not it. Northwestern, yeah. This could actually.
Yeah, it's not gonna. Like I said, it's not gonna hurt Ohio State as much as y'all. I think
they play a Big
Ten
championship. They play a Big Ten championship, right?
Yeah, they don't. I mean, yeah. Top 2 teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
so it'll be a rematch.
That means, I was about to say, it's a high chance that you get a rematch here.
And like I said, Ohio State, because they played. Again, the Big Ten, for everything that people talk about the SEC, the Big Ten now is one of them giant conferences that's top heavy.
Yo, this is the headline: Big Ten title race. 9 teams either have 0 or 1 conference loss heading into the halfway point.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Now, Ryan Day, you're
not talking to Ryan Day.
You, sir. Your seat was already hot before because you have had one of the, if not the best roster for probably the last 3 years. You had a number one receiver, at least one, go number one.
You had
year.
an NFL number one wide receiver, not a college wide receiver one. You've had multiple wide receiver ones on this college team. And Ryan Day, if I was you, I would stay far away from Mike Vrabel. He has to know that there's blood in the water. He has to know that this is job for taking. And I think that, I thought that Vrabel, I think that he's a candidate for all the jobs in Ohio. I think that Stefanski may get fired because of what's going on in Cleveland. But I think that this is a better job. I would not want to take the Browns job and have to deal with Deshaun Watson. So, no, I would take this Ohio State job with way more security, way more opportunity, and, and way more control.
Yeah, if you get a defensive coach, you're gonna have, again, it's the same thing in the pros. If you get a defensive minded coach, you're gonna have to turn over your offensive coordinator over and over again. But in terms of recruiting, I mean, they're gonna stay where they are, especially if they could keep Brian Hartline. That's who you really make sure you.
I was about to say.
As long as you keep Brian Hartline as the wide receivers coach, you good to go.
Hartline has been coaching the best player on your team for the last umpteen trillion years. But he is and Chip Kelly. The best thing that you could do is hit your wagon to Brian Hartline. Now, I would tell you that you should go find him a quarterback. Now, that would be advisable. Go find him.
Wasn't bad. He wasn't great.
Yeah, he also. If you're Ohio State and you're going to perennially be basically a top 5 team, then you're telling me I can't get a top 10 quarterback?
They have had top 10 quarterbacks. They had C.J. Stroud. They had Joe Burrow. They've had it's just been the last 2 years they haven't had anybody.
But and that's what I was about to say. They got to be sick losing. Like Quinn Ewers he's the guy that you've needed.
Quinn Ewers, he
would have been
they get like 5 people.
But that's the thing. You're not picking the right one consistently. That you almost at the Mac Brown. You let Joe
Stroud. You can't pick somebody after
CJ Stroud.
He's there.
Check. But you also Burrows never really ran the show, and Ewers never really ran the show. And they got beat out by other people,
if I'm not mistaken. It's the transfer portal quietly has hit Ohio State the hardest. They lose their up and coming quarterback every year.
I don't want to hear that. I lost my starting running back to our biggest rival. You can go to hell.
So, Ryan Day, I don't know if he makes
that
it
little
through.
sticker.
I don't know if he makes it through the offseason. But I mean, they're bringing in the number one wide receiver.
Hey, Ryan Day. Best thing I can tell you is to get your resume over to Kirby Smart.
You remind me of Mark Richt. This is a perennial Mark Richt type coach. You keep getting the number one everything, and you keep losing the big game, and you keep making it just falling short.
And then they go to the NFL and become world beaters.
What do you mean become?
That's what
they were world beaters before. They were world beaters at Ohio State.
But you're right. But I'm a Florida fan too, so I've seen a lot of people not be world beaters in college and then get to the pros and not be world beaters. The thing is, what Mark Richt was, they would be good in college, then they get to the pros, and he'd be like, oh, my God. And you're talking about Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., C.J. Stroud. Like that run that he had is crazy not to equate for any national championships.
And that's what I said at the beginning. I was like, hey, they have not won a national championship in 10 years with this top 2 or 3 recruiting team every year.
Let me tell you the good and the bad of this, because there is a similarity between us and them. The hangover of Urban Meyer is tough. We are still firmly entrenched. We're still looking for this no way out.
And they didn't even pick their coach. Urban Meyer said, hey, this is the guy y'all going to have. Remember he passed the sticks and just quit?
That's what you got to do sometimes. I think Caleb Williams did that with the kid at USC too. No, you're going to pick this guy. So when I get out of here, it won't be no overlap of the next guy being a world beater like me. You're going to have to find a new one.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
I don't hate
had
it. You in control of your own legacy, big dog.
Ohio State got some soul searching to do. But I think, like you said, they'll
Coach
at least
searching.
get the rematch. They're gonna at least get the rematch. And then you had Texas, Oklahoma, which we all knew this was gonna happen, y'all. I don't there was really no discussion. There was
No,
really
y'all
no
believed in Brett Venables. Y'all said Brett Venables was legit, and I said I don't trust him. But I had
who
to
said
back
that?
off a little bit because Brett Venables, they were trying to make him the man, and
You
I was
can't
like,
say
no,
he's
I don't
not,
trust
bro.
him.
You can't say he's not in with this game, with this team. They're down their top 5 wide receivers and top 2 quarterbacks. You can't say, Brent Venables ain't, bruh. I watched the first half. I couldn't watch it anymore. The quarterback could only run the ball. He would not throw. He was scared. He's a freshman, true freshman. Now they're going to be crazy next year, but woo boy, they look bad
This
on
is a
offense.
shellacking.
It really
And
wasn't as bad
Texas
as you
is
think it
riding
is, though.
high right now. That boy Sarkisian broke up with his old lady. He got Texas at #1. He won the Red River rivalry.
Told y'all. I told y'all. You
That
break up
boy
with your
finna
old
be in them
lady.
streets.
He at home. He ain't in the streets. He at home. I told you. I saw a double curl. They did it again. I watched it to make sure I wasn't tripping. He ran a comeback, faked it, went back up 10 more yards, and ran a curl. I was like, bruh, he ain't got nothing to do but just draw up crazy
Former
plays.
Miss Sarkisian, you might need to call him back. Because if you're not calling him back, let me tell you, that phone is blowing up, man. It's somebody else want to be the first lady in Austin.
Now, I will say Quinn Ewers did look rusty in the game. He looked rusty,
Rightly
but
so.
that team is so loaded. Now, they did lose their top running back and they lost their top linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, in these last couple games. So they do have some question marks going into this week with a big game against the number 5 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. But they are firmly entrenched as the number 1 team in the SEC. Firmly entrenched.
While I got
in the
you
nation.
here, of these 10 teams, how many of these teams you think are legit, and who are the non-legits?
So you got 1 Texas, 2 Oregon, 3 Penn State, 4 Ohio State, 5 Georgia, 6 Miami, 7 Alabama, 8 LSU, 9 Iowa State, 10 Clemson. Not legit. Iowa State. I am skeptical on Penn State because they are in the same category as Ohio State in terms of Ryan Day. James Franklin has been at the mercy of Ohio State and Michigan for his whole career. He has a couple wins every now and then, but for the most part, they've got some they got to figure that out. Texas is real.
Check.
Oregon is real depending on who they play.
Real enough.
Depending on who they play. It's a matchup. Quietly as kept, Miami still got to prove a little bit to me. I like Cam Ward. I think he's a hell of a player, but you gonna have to do that against teams other than Cal. You can't be down 35 points.
Frustrate. I like him a lot, but he would frustrate me as a coach because so much of what he does is analog, is so much unscripted. It is. You just really gotta. You kind of gotta not coach him. You just gotta get out of the way.
And but I mean that's what Cristobal likes though. Cristobal is a offensive tackle and defensive lineman his whole life. So I mean he likes playing defense. Now that's what would hinder me with Miami though. That defense, you leaving up 35 points to Cal and having Cam Ward have to go crazy to win. Has me kind of skeptical. So I'm skeptical. I don't believe in Ohio State. I'm skeptical of Miami. I'm skeptical of Oregon. I'm skeptical of Penn State. I think Texas is for real. Oh, I'm skeptical of Georgia. Because we're not playing the way that we should on defense. Offense, I mean, look, Georgia fans, I know y'all are saying we're scoring 41 points and we're averaging 400 yards of offense and we're doing all of these great things. When it matters, when the game gets tight, we are not doing what we're supposed to do. Against Mississippi State, we scored 27 points in the first half. We scored 14 points in the second half.
I'm going to tell y'all, while you playing, this schedule that looked very easy for you guys,
who said
it's
easy?
Not easy.
Why would you say our schedule was easy?
I felt like it was kind of walking the parky. I guess not, though.
At Alabama, at Texas, Tennessee, Florida.
Y'all get Texas,
Clemson,
Florida, and
Alabama.
Gators, say what you want to. They ain't playing terrible. We're not making the best decisions, but not playing terrible football. And Ole Miss and Tennessee.
Yeah. I don't know why you I don't know where in the offseason you thought that was going to be an easy schedule.
Y'all might mess around because I don't really trust Ole Miss. But Ole Miss can go back to being themselves now. They can be the little brother that can trip you up. They went right back into their preferred role. I think, and y'all got to go to Oxford after that tough loss. That could go either way.
Tough loss.
Either way for you boys. For Ole Miss.
I mean, we play Texas next week. So if this is the game, this makes or break our season to me. Texas, Georgia can play a good game and beat Texas. Georgia can also play a bad game and get blown out. That whole start.
Y'all lose to Texas. If y'all lose to Texas, y'all still in the top 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all probably.
Yeah, we'd only lose to Texas and Alabama, the number 1 team and the number 3 team at the time. So, I mean, we're not going to – that's why Ohio State is still number 4 because they lost to Oregon at Oregon. And we lost on the road.
Oh.
But we'd have to win out, though. We'd have to win out, though.
Y'all, I can't lie. This might be one of the best things that happened to y'all.
Yeah, we'd be like an 8 seed. We'd have to go play like Miami or Iowa State or Clemson again. Clemson, quietly as kept, got into that ACC schedule and got their confidence back up. They averaging like 40 points a game, too.
So help me out with this. It's just the 2 top teams in the conference go to the conference championship? Mm-hmm. Oh, then y'all probably safe. Maybe not. I don't know. Somebody's gonna get the benefit of not having to play in the SEC championship. And I have said for many, many years, that team is the luckiest team out of all
Alabama most of the time. Alabama has always been the one to
because
play the national championship and then win the national championship after not playing the SEC.
So tell me if you got a loss against Alabama, mm-hmm. you lose one of these games, then you guys wouldn't even be in the SEC championship to lose it. That's an insurance policy.
We'd be in the top 12, but we wouldn't. Alabama would probably make it to the SEC championship game, or LSU. Alabama or LSU would make it, and we would be on the
or
outside
Texas.
Looking in. Texas is in there. I don't. Unless Texas loses the next 3 games, like they play us, and I think they don't play anybody else after us. I don't think. So unless they lose like the next 3 games, Texas no matter what happens, they're going to make it because Alabama lost, Georgia lost, LSU lost, Ole Miss lost. Like all the ranked SEC teams have lost. So they're actually playing with a mulligan.
Respect us. Just put us in there. We lost.
I mean, y'all, okay. Florida lost.
Oh,
Tennessee
no,
lost.
All they have left is
Georgia.
I mean, just Georgia, Chicky Vandy, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky. Yeah.
Vandy can only pull that.
If you don't
Vandy
get it
and
done,
Arkansas can only pull that move once. You can only beat the team once. You wasted it on Tennessee.
Texas' schedule is a walk in the park, though. Especially
that's why they
with
were
Michigan
picked to win the SEC. That's why they were picked. So to get back to the original question, I don't know if I believe in LSU. I'm surprised that they beat Ole Miss.
You know who's not surprised? Your boy.
They beat him in overtime.
You said Harold Perkins. You said, I'm not picking them because Harold Perkins is not playing. Mm-hmm. That kid Weeks had 20 tackles.
Yeah.
I was watching him fly around. I'm like, wait, how many of these do y'all have over there?
Ole Miss got out coached. So the game was actually kind of boring. Don't let the score get you. It was the second quarter was crazy.
I watched this one.
The second quarter was crazy. 17-13 in the second quarter at halftime. All the points scored in the second quarter. Second half, field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown to win the game. Like it was a knockdown, drag out fight. I think this may do it for Ole Miss. I know they still got to play Georgia. They still have to play Mississippi State.
That's the best thing that could have happened to Florida.
What?
Lane Kiffin losing. He looked like a deer in the headlights when it was all said and done. It was all over. He looked overwhelmed. He looked like, oh, this ain't it.
He only scored 9 points in the second half in overtime. That's your
Whit
fault.
Weeks, 18 total tackles, 10 solos, 1 sack, 2 TFLs. That is a hell of a game for a. Ain't he the backup?
That's him right there, ain't it?
No,
right there, ain't it?
No, it's not. Whit Weeks is a white guy, and he's 6'2", 228. He's a defensive back. That's what he really is.
They evolving. And then, of course, Kyron Lacy walks it off in overtime. If you remember, he was the one that got the penalty that cost them the game when he was doing the celebration in the end zone with the gunshots. He then scores, wins the game, and then folds his arm. So he doesn't do anything crazy. So shout out to LSU. They did it.
And the deer in headlights look I'm referring to is, if you're watching this, and hopefully you are on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you may find it, that look right there of Lane Kiffin is the one of, I'm getting the hell out of here. And I'm happy about that because my coach is getting the hell out of there. Can we go to that now?
Yeah, you had Lane. Lane, he's pretty much maxed out Ole Miss. And Ole Miss really never really recovered, even though I do like Lane. Hugh Freeze was that team. He had that team and that fan base and that recruiting ground. He had all of that humming. And they ended up losing after he got caught, went to Liberty, and now he's getting destroyed at Auburn. We'll go to the game Norwood wants to talk about next. Tennessee survives Florida in Death Valley. In the swamp. Sorry, Death Valley. They get LSU. Tennessee survives Florida. No, they played in Tennessee.
That wasn't the swamp? Yeah, that was Rocky Top.
Tennessee won by the hair of their chinny chin chin. Nico Amaliva has been introduced to SEC defense, to schemes. Florida had a chance to win this game. Should have won this game. If he had just gone for 2. At the point, Billy Napier could have gone for 2. This is definitely in, what is this, overtime? Yeah, it's the overtime thing.
Yeah, this is in overtime. But we had the ball. We scored on the game time play right at the end of regulation. I think it's like 30 seconds left. And I immediately got put in every group chat. Go for 2.
I think we all without did. We was question. Like, you got to go for it, don't you? You got to go for it.
You're playing with house money. You're expected to lose. You're expected to be fired. And he ran the offense out there in a stupid-ass formation. And I said, we're going to lose. Like, there has to get to a point in football where you say, hey, I'm going to put my best fucking guys on the field. They're going to put their best guys on the field. We're going to meet at the line of scrimmage and let the best man win. That's it. Getting cute and put they want to do the swinging gate and do all of this so that they can see where people are. No, sometimes it's man versus man. And a couple things immediately came to my thought process here. Either you don't believe in your men, which means that,
which is crazy.
This is all for now.
The ball down. Yeah, they throat the whole game.
Exactly. Or you scary as hell. Those are the only 2 things that I could come up with. You knew, and I'm not gonna say you knew, but I would have more respect for him had he gone out in a blaze of glory, gone out on his own terms, say, hey man, we're not playing for a national championship. Let's be real here. So we're not playing for it. You know how I feel about it.
You got to coach as
if you're not playing for a national championship.
That's how I feel.
You said you got to coach like what?
You're trying to save your job. winning against Tennessee,
Yeah,
a top
but
10 ranked team in Knoxville, would have gotten you closer to saving your job, which means you have to
absolutely.
go for 2. You are they are firing you. They are scraping your name off the door. Like it's out of there. They are already ponying up the buyout money right now. So
And it don't help when you don't play aggressive. You know that's what Gator. Everybody comes from the Steve Spurrier tree. We want a lot of points, and we want you to play aggressive. Win, lose, or draw, if you're playing aggressive, people will leave you alone. Because we do have a pedigree. We have an expectation. And as soon as he kicked the extra point, he lost the game. Whether he just lost the game at that point.
I think the way that he kicked the extra point, if he would have just jogged the extra point, the field goal team out there from the beginning, I think it would have changed the perception of what he was doing. For him to bring the offense out there, line up in some funky formation, and then call timeout. Again, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
And you got your full complement of offensive players back, minus Graham Mertz, who's torn his ACL. His time in Florida is over. I've been on record saying that I'm not the biggest Graham Mertz fan. With that said, I still didn't want. I didn't want to see him go out like that. And honestly, he might have played the best game or one of the best games he had played. As much as I like DJ Lagway,
he played bad.
when it was on him to be the guy, I was very disappointed. And but the frustrating thing is he should have been playing the whole damn season anyway. Graham Mertz not coming back, and we're not winning a championship. So you should have at least gotten him the experience. So I'm kind of 50-50. I wish you would have prepared him better for those type of situations. But it don't matter because you're going home. Fire Billy Napier. If you heard it once, you've heard it 1,000 times. There is no reason for it to keep him now. When Graham left, you might as well send Billy home. Get us an interim coach.
That's another Mark Richt type thing. You play and kind of a Kirby thing. You play somebody you're attached to than playing the better player. That's why we keep having all these walk-ons keep playing, like Dan Jackson and Cash Jones and all of them other players where you have a 5-star,
so frustrating,
6'2", 215-pound DB out there playing, and you're like, we'll keep it next year. Can't do that from
Florida. When the next coach y'all get, more than anything, send me a killer. Send me a ruthless, dangerous killer. I want somebody who has no issues with stepping on necks, slapping people, running up to score, and being offensive. If y'all don't send me any more of these nice guys, I don't want those. We good.
Other games, we're going to run through these scores before we talk about the Heisman Trophy watch, as well as a couple other topics. Penn State beat USC in a thriller, probably one of the better games of the day. Both teams played.
That's the reason y'all should watch Saturday Morning Live. We told y'all this is going to be one that was going to be closer than the rankings.
They won in overtime 33-30 after USC misses the field goal in overtime. Penn State was actually getting shellacked. It was 20-6 at halftime. They came out in the second half, scored 27 points to force it to overtime. That quarterback, he played well. And shout out to James Franklin, because a lot of people were like, hey, man.
James Franklin be coaching. He be coaching just enough. Just enough.
He's in that who you going to get that's better. And he's at the benefit of coming behind a scandal.
He might be the poster child of who can you get better. And,
again,
I'll take it.
Your regime starting after a scandal. You're relevant.
Yeah.
You clean. And you might
He's the DeMeco
minority boxes.
He's the DeMeco Ryans. Oh, yeah, we just had a really bad situation. Yes, let's find a black person who can coach their ass off and take us back to good enough. And that's where they are right now. And I'm going to tell y'all, sometimes you just got to be happy with good enough. You know what they say about women? 80-20. That's your 80-20 right there.
They play Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois coming up. I think Illinois is still down to one loss, if I'm not mistaken. Other games. Shout out. BYU. They're not top 10, but they getting close. They 14, and they probably gonna be 11 soon. They just keep winning.
They just keep on winning and don't do any losing. Let's check out their schedule here and see what they got.
They're pretty exciting to watch. Last week you had the crazy kick return. They play pretty exciting football.
Let me tell you. Shoe in. BYU is going to piss some people off because they're going to be a playoff team. What they have left, they beat Arizona 41-19. They got Oklahoma State, UCF, Utah, who's lost Cam Rising again, and Kansas and Arizona State and Houston. If they continue to play football like this, they're a top 12 team, and that's crazy.
Here's another top 12 team.
And they're going to be a top 12 team and not be 12.
Look at Pittsburgh. 17-9 over Cal in a ugly game. Or no, I'm sorry. They ended up winning 17-15. First time at 6-0 since 1982. As you can see, they are excited. Again, on Saturday Morning Live, I told y'all, I can't name one person on this Pittsburgh team. Not one. I don't know the quarterback. I don't know wide receiver. I don't know anybody on the team, but they just keep winning. Now, I think they do have to play Clemson.
Now, let me tell you. This, I hate to rain on their parade, but it's going to run out. This is a team do not bet on. You beat Cincinnati 28-27. You beat West Virginia 38-34.
That's a rivalry.
You beat North Carolina 34-24. You beat Cal 17-15. Cal is not that good of a team. Cincinnati's not that good of a team. West Virginia's not that good of a team. You've wasted all of your pendulum swings. And just like I tell Reggie every week, the math is going to math. The law of average is going to tap you on your shoulder. And if you keep getting them W's early, it's going to swing the other way. Now, the other part is they got a pretty tough schedule closing out here. Syracuse, SMU, Virginia, Clemson, Louisville, Boston College. Realistically, I think they lose 3 of those games.
9-3, New Year's Eve Bowl, New Year's Day Bowl. Positive season for them.
No,
but as of now,
positive season, but just no playoffs.
You never know.
No, I can tell you right now, when you've won 1, 2, 3 games by less than 5 points. Oh yeah, the number's gonna swing back.
TCU did
and you haven't done it since 1982.
Parlayed that to the national championship game.
Good luck and Godspeed.
Speaking of the Big 12, you have Arizona State beat Utah at home. I don't even know Arizona State's record. I think they lost to Arizona, if I'm not mistaken.
Utah loses Cam Rising for another season.
Arizona State's 5-1.
They're talking about possibly redshirting him, but
for an 8th year, he'll come back and play for an 8th year.
I have been watching this guy since we started podcast. I'm gonna put you in the tour category, bro. It's too many. Give it up. Give it on up. Go on and do something else. Add him to the coaching staff. He's been there longer than probably the entire staff. But this football ain't for you. And it's unfortunate because when he was playing, he was good. But injury after injury after injury, there has to be a point where we just got to go in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, you do have what's his name's brother back there who looked pretty good.
Oh,
Zachary Taylor Thomas' little brother.
Little Zachary Taylor Thomas Jr.
Yeah, and now he's gonna be able to play the rest of the season and get some reps. So,
and we're gonna call him his name. Isaac Wilson is his name.
Isaac.
Yeah.
Oh,
so yeah, we.
I skipped one before we get to the Heisman talk. Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Tuscaloosa. I told y'all South Carolina had a defense. I told y'all South Carolina can rush the passer. I told you. They made Jalen Milroe uncomfortable the whole game. Kennard, who played at Georgia Tech, what were y'all thinking? And the freshman that they have at defensive end.
Georgia Tech has, because they had the boy that was playing with the 49ers at running back. They criminal mismanagement of players.
Alabama won 27-25. And let me tell you who was disappointed. Everybody but Kellen DeBoer. The whole Alabama nation. Kellen DeBoer was like, woo, yes, we won. Everybody was like, bruh, if you would have lost this game, I didn't look it up, but I'm fairly confident to say I don't think any Alabama coach has ever lost 2 games in a row in back-to-back weeks to unranked opponents.
No.
I'm pretty sure that at home. No, one was on the road, one was at home. I'm pretty sure that has never happened.
So this is a little tricky to me, and I know y'all probably gonna call me biased, but I also don't care not one bit. This is the unfortunate part of being in the SEC. I think Kirby Smart said this. Every week, you play a really good team, and this is not San Francisco. South Carolina is surely not a complete team. Definitely some questions at quarterback. With that said, the defensive line, specifically those ends, they might be the best. They might be the best defensive line in college football. And that's the thing that I've seen more than anything else when I compare other conferences to the SEC. You have like those 1 or 2 guys that might be able to beat you by themselves. But like when you look at
tight end too, or whatever he plays, tight end.
When you look at the other teams in the Big 10 and the Big 12, they just don't have those guys. They don't have a guy who can ruin your whole game like Kennard did for damn near the whole game. You just don't have that. And the thing is, Kennard is supposed to be playing on a team like Alabama or Georgia. That's really the thing. How South Carolina got him is mind-boggling. But him alone.
Shout out to Shane Beamer, that Kirby Smart tree, teaching how to.
And on top of that,
recruit.
Beamer going to be poached here soon and very soon. He's coaching that team a little too well. That's the other part. If you get poached, if your coach gets poached, he's probably going to want to stay in the SEC. So yeah, but I think that once this thing shakes up, he could be interested in going to Ole Miss if Lane leaves.
That's a lateral.
Auburn is going to.
I would stay at South Carolina if I go to Ole Miss. That's an even harder schedule. That means you have to play Alabama or LSU or Texas A&M or Texas or Oklahoma.
I guess the same thing goes for Auburn too, huh?
Yeah, I'd stay right. If y'all trying to send me to Ole Miss or Auburn, I'm staying in South Carolina. You trying to send me to Florida, or somewhere like that? You got fertile recruiting grounds. You already got a pipeline in Florida because you're in South Carolina. I'd stay in South Carolina. Let me tell you something, Jalen Milroe. There's 2 quarterbacks in this league and the nation that I have not seen play their way out. Somebody play their way out of Heisman contention and first round draft pick like Jalen Milroe and Carson Beck. You two with these interceptions and these bad decisions, Jalen Milroe was flustered. And that was the first, and he was flustered because he couldn't use his athleticism to get out of it. Normally, like against Georgia, if something happened, he would just run. Or against anybody, he would just run and get, like 30 yards, 40 yards, whatever. He had 18 carries for 36 yards.
So this is the thing. You're kind of right, but you look at the summation of a player. He has 319 rush yards and 11 rushing touchdowns. He has 14. He has almost 1,500 passing yards, 4 interceptions, and 12 touchdowns.
His 4 interceptions came in the last 2 games.
Exact. So yeah, what I'm saying is
last 3 games.
Outside of these last 2 or 3 games, he's actually been pretty protective of the football, and he's played pretty well. Now, the other part is nobody. Hey, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All they're looking for. I mean, because you could say the same. I mean, we're not, but you could say the same thing about Boise.
Not at running back.
But you wouldn't dare say.
Not
you
at
wouldn't
running
dare
back.
say that about Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah, you would. No, I wouldn't say it about him, but Ashton Jeanty is a running back. He can't throw the ball. He can only, when he gets the ball, he can only do one thing.
Jalen Milroe is
a running back. See, it was just about my point. Come on back around to my point that I was making. Come on.
I have never not said every point I've said that Jalen Milroe. I said that last year. I said, boy, you need to learn some other positions on the field. I don't know what he tracks as in the pros.
Jarrett. He's a bigger version of Jarrett. That's who he is. He's Jarrett McKinnon.
Yeah, but Jarrett understood, hey, I'm going to play football. I'm not going to play quarterback anymore. I think that so many of these guys have fought so feverishly not to be cast as a gadget guy or a multi-purpose guy. Now we're on the other end, and somebody got to tap you and say, you're not Jalen Hurts. And I think that if they could do Jalen Hurts over, they probably wouldn't pay him as much.
The thing that I've seen the difference between Alabama is, one, hey, just like Jeremiah Smith with Ohio State, he had a decent game, but it wasn't like the crazy game against Oregon. South Carolina shut down Ryan Williams. 4 catches for 32 yards, and that was 2 catches going into the fourth quarter. South Carolina led most of this game.
That's always been my thing about.
They got the end of the game was crazy. They should have won. They got the onside kick, and boy, South Carolina really may be one transfer. If they're a Cam Ward away from being in the SEC championship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If Cam Ward goes there instead of Miami, they're
in the SEC championship with that defense. And then they got Nicholas Harbor, who they finally started throwing the ball to, 6'5", the fastest dude on the team.
Oh, just ran him down there. He did a little comeback, and it was like, and the poor cornerback, it's like, bro, I can't do anything against his superhuman. He ran down there faster than me, came and ran right past me, and then he threw the ball up in there. I can't jump that high. My arm's too short to box with God. What you expect me to do?
But that's how I'm telling y'all. That's how I'm happy. I don't think we play them. I'm happy we don't play them this year because that D line is crazy. Crazy.
That's the other part. South Carolina can't do anything but ruin your day. They're not probably going to beat you, but those defensive ends are so good that they can ruin your quarterbacks. I mean, probably run it Heisman.
Yeah, it's over with.
But y'all don't play South Carolina?
Guys? No. I don't think so. We play Tennessee.
That's a shame.
We don't play Missouri.
That's a shame.
We don't play South Carolina. We play like Auburn.
That's a rivalry. I think that should be obligatory.
That would be
it's border badge.
That would be a team to beat us this year. Because they can run the ball and they can rush the passer. And they look
effectively and aggressively.
Now I will say Georgia does get healthy. They're getting a lot of their defensive players back. But
man, unless you're gonna make that offensive coordinator gonna make better decisions, I don't care about no health.
They be scoring 400. We had 400 yards, bro. We had 7 points going into the final drive of the fourth quarter. Like what y'all talking about?
Coordinator about dumb as a box of rocks.
Everybody. If you go into the chats, they say, and I sign in under Splashcast. They say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." I say, "Okay." Now y'all all up in arms about scoring 41 points, but you scored 31 at the half. See, now y'all up in arms. I've been saying it. I'm telling y'all, Bobo is going to be the guy. Now, again, I'm going to say it again before we talk about this Heisman talk. Bobo is a great quarterback's coach. He should be a quarterback's coach. He should be the quarterback coach. His adjustments, we normally play really, really well, but he cannot coach a full game. He can either coach the first half or the second. And he ain't going to be able to coach both. And it's been like that every time. And Carson Beck, boy, you be looking like a deer. It's like Carson Beck got to get slapped first. He got to get slapped before he realizes he in a fight.
I never liked him. I don't think that he's that good. I don't think that he's.
You wouldn't have got
like
your job
that's the
taken
reason
by
when
a
people
6-year walk on if you were that good.
It's very interesting to see who's going to be that top tier. Who the NFL teams are going to value as the best quarterback in this draft, because none of these guys are. Not that I see makes me say, "Oh, I want to spend my first pick on him."
Yeah. He probably was going to be a top 10 draft pick last year. I think he would have gone in front of Bo Nix, and I think he would have gone in front of probably even in the Bo Nix era. He'd probably be at Oakland right now. But now,
which would be an upgrade.
You might be in Oakland again. You never know. Heisman talk. Another great game. Great game. Kansas State beats Colorado 31-28. Back and forth game. Did Travis Hunter get hurt? He wasn't playing.
Yep.
He wasn't playing like the whole second half that I saw.
No, he was hurt, out, no helmet. They haven't really said too much about what the injury was or not. It was just he's hurt. He's not playing. I like him because even as an injured player, he stayed in the game. He didn't foul. He didn't do any of the, he's and I could understand how that could be devastating. You're on a Heisman run. You're trying to do everything. You play on both sides of the ball. I really like that kid's attitude. But more than that, I like winning beers via Kansas State. Colorado, once again, big touchdown at the end of the game. You think they got it sealed. They start clipping everything up, showing the celebrities, and you're just like, oh, man, it's about to go down. Deion, and I hate to say it, but Deion looked like he won the game before he won the game. You could see the smile on his face. He looked like he had just gotten out of there, and then this happened.
They had the lead and had just taken. They had all the momentum, and then this was a great throw and catch by the wide receiver from Kansas State. He did everything that you're supposed to teach when it comes to being a receiver. He had late eyes, which means you don't allow the DB to track your eyes. He slowed down to keep the DB in between him and the ball. He caught the ball, changed course immediately when he felt that the DB was off balance, and he scored. And that was really the end of the game.
When he stacked that corner and the corner was right behind him, it was over. Because either I'm going to get this pass interference call and get 15 yards, or he's going to throw the ball perfect and drop one in the bucket. He dropped it in the bucket. I think that they'll probably ban Bradley Beal from ever going back to a Colorado game. They as soon as he scored, you could just, and it was, his face was just right in the camera. And he just had, if you go back left to the original, you can see, like, that's the very first thing I saw. I said, oh, damn, Brad, they got you. And it's tough because everybody was in Boulder on the side.
Oh,
Carmelo
weird on his shoulder. Okay, he landed on his shoulder, kind of weird. That's what Vanessa said.
Carmelo was there.
Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Cameron,
Sauce Walker, Bill. Everybody is at this game, and this is the thing that people hate about Colorado is we're the number 18 team, but there are 50 celebrities on the other sideline for the unranked team. People going to be happy about beating it.
Yeah, I mean, not to take anything away from Colorado, they played a hell of a game. Shedeur. First game back, I believe, from a broken arm. Boy, they targeted you and
No.
made you.
Shiloh.
Shiloh, not Shedeur. They targeted you and
Shiloh,
destroyed
hey,
you.
y'all gonna stop saying y'all not my parent. Y'all can't keep calling me the wrong brother now. I did not play no defense. Pause. I was not on both knees. None of that.
Shiloh and Deion kept it a buck. He thought he played horrible. And Shiloh, boy, this right here,
The one.
Oh my Lord.
Right knee, left knee. Lord help me.
Blocked your own player. Kansas State targeted him in the pass game, in the run game, and he just got absolutely destroyed. Ooh. Had you begging like you was trying to get a girl back. Keith Sweat.
Baby, I'm begging. Baby, I'm begging. You look like Jodeci in the desert, my boy. Yeah, that's bad.
So
I do
bad,
think that,
but I mean, it is what it is.
It's tough because you need him. As you know, I'm fond of him. I think that he's a good player, but I think he was rushed back because you need him in order to play well. Because all of them Louis bags ain't Louis bags. Some of them is Amazon basics. And every time you lose a Louis bag, like they lost Travis, they lost Horn, they lost the other receiver. Like you need whatever you can get on the field because you got so much mid in there. It was a lose-lose situation.
And we're not going to absolve, this is my last point, we're not going to absolve Shedeur of that last pass that he tried to get pass interference for on 4th down and 3. I don't understand why you wouldn't just take the out route, get the first down, and keep going. That was a bad play, and you can't rely on the referees. He actually threw it too early on that point. He threw it too early on that throw, ironically. So,
but overall, I think that that's not like where before I think that he was probably a top 5, top 10 draft pick. I think that's going to push him down 10 to 15, maybe lower.
Oh, you ain't been watching the headlines. They talking about he the number 1 QB now.
Wait. See, that's another thing. Depends on what mock draft you look at. Some mock drafts, I don't see him, and then some mock drafts, he's still top 10. But you're not taking him above Cam Ward, are you?
I don't know. Cam Ward has not shown me anything that he could do in the pros. He can't play like the way he's playing right now in the pros. Everything is off schedule. He played like Caleb Williams. Everything is off schedule. Caleb Williams Caleb Williams had to learn, which kudos to him. He had to learn how to be a pocket passer quickly because all that running around and spinning and all that stuff just had you 0-2. So, I think Cam Ward will have to show me that he can do it in the pocket versus.
Now, I do think that it is some jobs that are opening up with terrible NFL quarterback play. Mostly your boy Will Levis. He gonna get himself fired. Bryson got himself fired. The Raiders don't have. I mean, the Browns could be interested in a quarterback. Honestly,
if I'm the Browns,
the Giants gonna be looking for a quarterback.
Try to develop him. Yeah, you locked in with Deshaun. I mean, you got Deshaun at least for another year. But we'll get to that discussion. Let's round out college football with, boy, Jeanty. I mean, at this point, 34 touches, 231 total yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 54-yard touchdown in the first quarter to let y'all know that he's going for 2,000 yards. And at this point, are they a shoe-in? Because they don't really have – I mean, they the – what are they, the WAC? Big 12? WAC? They might be the Big 12 now.
Mountain West.
But, okay, they're leaving. I think they're either going to the Pac-12. They're going to the Pac-12, but he'll be gone. Jeanty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He really –
Let's see what they got left here.
Now that Travis got hurt, he really may be the front runner for the Heisman now. Which I don't know.
Yeah, I think that he was – I think that his numbers are going to be so crazy that you're not going to have a choice but to give it to him. 234 yards. He's still at like 10 yards a carry.
And going,
it's unreasonable.
It's not like it's going down. He's going from 5
No,
yards to 7 yards to 9
and they're
yards
game planning around you. That's the difference. The whole game plan is probably to stop you, and you know how rough it's got to be as a DC to say, hey man, your job is to stop him, and then he give up, and you give up 234 yards on the ground. Oh no. And yeah, they play who else? UNLV, San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, Oregon State, and then the Mountain West Championship. He probably gonna carry them to a playoff berth by himself.
And we're gonna be in the same situation we were in before with the 14. You're gonna have Boise State. You're gonna have BYU. You're gonna have somebody that's gonna have 0-1 loss. That's gonna be a conference champion, and y'all not gonna let them in. Or y'all gonna let them somebody else.
Y'all gonna let, and then the rest of them boys gonna be in there. And they're gonna start monkey stomping people, and y'all gonna be like, "Oh, well, we didn't need these extra 4 teams to watch," because there is a potential for you to just get thrashed unmercifully and it actually do you bad. Because you're gonna have recruits go to those games, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, you guys don't compete."
Recruiting, no, money.
Who was that? Oh, I think that was Alabama who had all the recruits at that Vandy game and lost. Or was that y'all that had all the recruits at that Bama game and y'all lost? Whatever it was, that's a big roll of the dice.
No, Alabama invited 100+ recruits to that game. But yeah, they also lost that Vandy game too. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a 2-minute break, and we will be right back, and we'll wrap up with the NFL. We're going to run through some of these scores, and then we're going to talk about what we need to talk about. Lions, Cowboys, Falcons, Panthers, Bucs, Saints, maybe? We'll talk about those 3 games. Oh, yeah, Commanders, Ravens. Absolutely. I'm sorry, Commanders, Ravens. We don't care about the Saints. We'll be right. Well, we'll talk about them, too, because they got just overwhelmed. We'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned. For collaboration, booking information, or any other inquiries, visit our website at www.thesplashcast.com. Every listen, share, and review is appreciated. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our final half segment of episode 162 of the Splashcast Monday Night Raw. Our NFL segment, we're going to run through the scores that are interesting but don't really matter. Well, they matter, but not yet.
Wait, let's start out with the big rumor here about Tua. The Dolphins want Tua to play this season?
He's going to come back and play this season, and he wants to play he's possibly going to be back in 2 weeks, which there's no way you could talk about player safety and bring Tua back after he was unconscious and dazed and had rigor mortis after getting hit again, which tells you that that's a brain injury. That's not that something is either unhooked or not. Something's wrong for every time he gets hit.
I'm so tired of watching Tua look like Mitch McConnell, fam. It has to stop.
Austin Kali, you remember him?
No, but I don't want to. I don't understand.
For the Colts that kept getting knocked out. He had to retire. Go when y'all have a chance. Go Google Austin Kali. When y'all have a chance, just Google him. But go ahead.
Not only should they, you have to get to a point where you at least look like you're trying to protect players from themselves. You're not even attempting to at this point. And I hate to say it, but he should not play. But him not playing with the Guardian cap is even more egregious. He is the person who they made the shit for. Make him put it on. He shouldn't be playing, honestly. Everybody knows that. And that's the frustrating part about it is, I get it, people have been athletes at different degrees. I understand you love the game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But sometimes you have to protect people from themselves. Mike McDaniel, you got to protect him. Dolphins ownership, you have to protect him. Roger Goodell, you have to protect him. Y'all are going to keep playing this game until somebody dies. And
vegetable.
I come from a football family. I love college football. Like, I love football. This is me and Reggie's passion. But I'm also not stupid. And we're getting into the realm of doing stupid things here for a game. A game.
You already made your money. I understand that you're gonna not get all the money that you signed for, but you've made $100 million.
Yes, he is. He's gonna get that money. All of that money they're gonna give him. It's like $100-something million. You're independently wealthy for multiple generations. There has to be a point where somebody says, you know what? Enough is enough. And the fact that nobody says enough is enough, like, that's the reason you're losing. This is the reason parents don't want to let their kids play football. This is the type of stuff where they're like, nah, my kid gonna play soccer or basketball or golf or anything else, but they're not gonna play football because this is what they see. And as a person who is a firm believer that everybody should play football at least for a little bit, this is unacceptable across the board.
Yeah,
I don't. Stupid.
I don't understand the point of it. Unless he's pushing to come back, which I'm sure he is. At some point, you have to be the authoritative figure. You're the parent in this point, and your kid wants to eat Sour Patch Kids, even though it's gonna rot his teeth. He's gonna try to eat a bunch of ice cream all day. At some point, you have to say no. Like, you have to sit down and be like, no, you need to go to an independent neurologist. You need to go there, not the team doctor. You need to go to where someone is unbiased, because I can't see how they would clear you. And you need to go get a study done, but you don't want to do it because you know they're going to tell you to quit. You know they're going to tell you to sit down.
And the doctor who signs off on this, they need to publish his name and make him loud and clear. It needs to be one of those. Yes, this is the guy who said it. Everything else, hey, it's your job. I'm sure that you specifically, I know what you do. There's something that's tied to you so that if something goes wrong, they can be like, hey, man, this is the guy who did this part. With me, I definitely have a unique identifier. And they make you update it so that when something goes wrong, they can go, who's the person who made this decision? Oh, there's his name right there. Because if you can find me some people who think this is a good decision, they need their brains checked like he does.
I don't think anybody thinks that's the thing. I don't think anybody thinks that this is a good decision. I don't think anybody does. I think everybody thinks this is asinine. But they're again, this is what happens when you have a ready-made team and you pay everybody. They don't have the money to pay all these people for the next 3 or 4 years while he figures this out. They got to win, and they've seen that, again, the quarterbacks that they have are not good. So they've got to win.
This is the other part. I think they're better off him retired. I think that Miami, if they could say, hey, I could take all the tour money off my books, I could rehash that money, I think that's better for them.
Possibly.
You take $40 million off the Dolphins' books. Go get. I know people don't want to hear this shit, but I don't give a damn. Go get Jameis.
Yeah. Just throw it. That's one thing you can do is throw the ball downfield.
Man, Jameis.
Or
which one?
Russell. That's somebody. He has
and
the best.
You know, it's another. Or next year, let's be honest. Sam Darnold is going to be the new Gardner Minshew. He's going to get a shot. He's played well enough so far that somebody's going to say, hey, I'm a roll of dice. And I'm going to tell you another name that we've forgotten about, but he is a tall guy that looks like a quarterback, Carson Wentz. Eventually, somebody going to roll them dice again, too.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this is set on Carson Wentz. Well, let's go through these other scores. I'm going to read some on ESPN.com, and I'm going to read some from Instagram. So we have the Packers versus the Cardinals, 34-13 in what is now the jokes are flowing on Kyler Murray after he announced his Call of Duty partnership, only to get shellacked. To be fair, he did not have Marvin Harrison Jr., and that team without Marvin Harrison Jr. is what you saw against the Packers, a 34-13 team. So they got beat.
And I want to say Kyler Murray, actually, if you look at, he played a decent game. The unfortunate part is you got whooped by a guy who's played less games than you. And the Call of Duty thing is just going to stick with you. So, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Well, Jordan
but you got to win games. Jordan
Love is in a better situation.
Packers are sneaky scary, though.
He's in a better situation. They got LaFleur. Y'all know how I feel about that situation. Should be with the Falcons.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love.
LaFleur coaching. LaFleur is Aaron Rodgers is an asshole.
Stupid.
And Aaron Rodgers is probably not a person who you should be taking advice from, specifically when he throws, looks like a game-losing interception with 1 minute and 52 seconds left on Monday Night Football. And he looks like he is getting all of his players destroyed. Whew, that's a rough way to lose a game. Yeah, Packers win, and the Jets and Aaron Rodgers look to lose. He looked like he's ready to retire.
Aaron Rodgers looks stupid because he does not like to run motion. Aaron Rodgers is the quintessential person that believes 100% in their abilities, which you don't make it that far if you don't. But he does not believe in running motion. He doesn't believe in scheme. He believes in just hiking the ball and throwing it. And the Packers, they showed one play that LaFleur did where it was he sent the running back in a sprint to the flat, and it threw everything off. And then he ran overs from the right side and had the slot receiver from the left side running under and made all the defenders run into each other. All the Cardinals defenders ran into each other, and Romeo Doubs just scored easily.
It's a mesh concept. That's the whole thing. Get them going in different directions. Yeah, I mean, LaFleur is it. And it looks like I was going to say it looks like Aaron Rodgers held him back. It looks like he did exactly what he needed Aaron Rodgers to do, was give Jordan Love enough time in the incubator and let LaFleur figure it out. And then by the time they got rid of him, they already had the action plan in place. It's beautiful. Congratulations to the Packers, man. I got to give them credit. You continue to find your quarterback decade after decade. I wish I was that lucky.
Colts beat the Titans without Anthony Richardson. Will Levis, boy. boy. The Titans probably have one of the better defenses. Levis. You have L'Jarius Sneed. You have Devon Sweat, that defensive tackle from Texas who everybody said was too big and too slow. Him and Simmons they'll never be giving up like 40 points, 30 points. They only be losing like 20 to 15, 20 to 10. That defense is for real. And Calvin Ridley is big pissed, by the way. I meant to let y'all know.
Yep. He is furious about not getting targets early in the game. I've tried to do my best with both of these quarterbacks. Will Levis, everything says you're going to be a fired ass. You look like you're probably going to be a backup. But the thing is, you probably just haven't been given the opportunity to, like, really get good.
Don't give a shit.
You'll be a backup.
You know how many quarterbacks don't get the opportunity? Don't give a shit.
I agree.
Joe Flacco played.
Your boy. No, don't never forget about Josh Rosen and all the black quarterbacks that took his job.
Affirmative action.
They put Josh Rosen in witness protection, bro. He might be one of the few people who can hate black people, and I'm like, you know what? They shall not replace us. They did. And Anthony Richardson, I hate to say it, but
keep getting hurt.
Last year, it's two things. It's you're hurt too much, and the guys who come in win. Gardner Minshew last year, Flacco this year, these guys who are not nearly as gifted as you, just doing the small things, they're consistently finding a way to win. And then, of course, Shane Steichen says Anthony Richardson is planned to be their quarterback next week. And I'm like, y'all know how I feel about Anthony Richardson. But it's tight. I
What'd you
You
say?
throw
With
too
Trey?
many
You
damn
said off the
interceptions.
hands off approach. You already said it.
Yeah.
You already said it. Hands off. We just gonna
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. And at this point, you throw too many interceptions, and Flacco was just doing the job. That's it.
Game
He's
manager.
doing the job.
All they need you to do is be a game
Now,
manager until you figure it out.
now the thing that he has is athleticism and youth. What it looks like the Colts need is wisdom. And I hate to say it, but Flacco just getting the job done. And unfortunately, due to the fact, because he won with no Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm. Now he also played a team with no offense too. Now, I mean, winning 20 points.
Flacco been winning. Flacco been winning and not look. And hey, it looks like 20 points and no interceptions will get you a lot of wins with the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to understand this is what the team needs, maybe not what I need to do. I don't need to throw 85 bombs a game. Maybe I just need to complete simple passes, not put us behind the sticks, and not give the ball away.
Yeah. So you had that game. Philadelphia in one of the ugliest games I've ever seen. Shout out to A.J. Brown bailing out the Eagles. Win 20-16 over the Browns. Kevin Stefanski has reiterated that he is sticking with Deshaun, which doesn't make sense to me.
He's not sticking with anybody. You want to know why it don't make sense? Because the ownership is telling him, hey, we're paying that guy $85 trillion. You better play it. And Stefanski is like, well, I don't have a say in this. So what y'all want me to tell y'all? Oh, Deshaun Watson gives us the best opportunity to win games. And as long as the object of this is winning games, Deshaun Watson clearly does not do that for you. There's no way in hell you can't tell me that Jameis can't do what he's doing.
This game reminded me of the same thing with Alabama and South Carolina in our last segment. Y'all won, Eagles, but y'all lost. Alabama won, but they lost. Beating the Browns 20-16 is a loss. That's a loss. With the firepower and team that you're supposed to have, that's a loss.
There's a little bit different because Bama can probably just work it on now and be okay. And he wasn't also Kalen Dobert wasn't talking trash to the Bama fans.
Bro, what are you you are a sucker. Sirianni is a sucker. And then to use your kids as a shield to the media, you are a sucker.
You earning the firing. Let me tell you that when they fire you, and this is the bad part, them Philly fans gonna be happy to see you go.
Yeah,
they're going to be happy to see you go, and you're earning it in a way that's just I don't know what to tell you nor care at this point. Nobody's going to feel bad when they
Philadelphia. You're at the point now arguing with the fans.
You should.
You're going to have to move out of Philadelphia. They're not going to like you.
What did you think that you were going to tell the fans that they were going to be like, oh, you're right. It's no way we should be yelling at this guy for sucking the way that he sucks.
Whoa.
No, he sucks. 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 You're terrible. And it's and you don't want to be held accountable for your team being a flaming bag of garbage. These people pay a ton of money. People are mentally and emotionally invested, and your team sucks. Yeah. I don't know what your expectation is or why you would expect them to do anything other than roast your sorry ass. But he apologized, but it's too little too late.
You gotta apologize. You gotta, because they're not gonna come to the game and then the owner's gonna lose money. So you gotta apologize. But
no, they will come to the game and boo you, I think.
It's gonna be interesting. Like I'll just say that. It's gonna be interesting moving forward. They still, luckily, their division ain't that great other than Washington. And we'll get to the other teams. We'll get to the main people.
Say that again?
Other than Washington, that's the only really good team in the East.
I had one beer, officer. I am not drunk. I don't know what this man is saying to me.
They're number one in the division.
You're right.
We'll see. Other games before we get to what we really want to talk about. Chargers beat the Broncos. The big story out of this was Jim Harbaugh having a medical emergency on the sideline, then coming back and winning the game. Quietly as kept, he's turning the Chargers into a tough, hard-nosed team. They play defense. They run the ball. I mean, they don't really air it out. And, I mean, that's what they're doing.
Considering the losses that they've had in that wide receiver group and losing Austin Eckler, being able to still – and Justin Herbert has been injured. Like, he hasn't been the healthiest either. The way that they've continued to find ways to win games is impressive. Also, just a little thing that I keep seeing is Austin Jeanty to the Chargers. It's very scary. That is the thing.
Yeah, especially with Joe Alt, 6'8" self, not allowing no pressures, no nothing. After the first game, they was like, "Nope, you can't." He said, "Okay, you got a sack. That's it. Shut it down."
Yep,
and he has. Other ugly games. Another team that won but lost. Cincinnati.
Bad and worse. Bad and worse.
Cincinnati. Y'all lost to the Giants with no Malik Neighbors. Daniel Jones is. I mean, he needs to go open an investment firm or turn into Superman Clark Kent, because football ain't it for him. It's over with. He looked.
It never was. It was never was for him. It is.
Do you fire Dabo?
Yes. You got to. You have to. You have to just clean house. Is Dabo a bad coach? No, but you're gonna have to fire him. But
you hitched your wagon to Daniel Jones. That makes you a bad coach.
Yes. No, I don't think that's the GM's fault. And Daniel Jones has never been good at football. I said this his entire career. Before he got drafted, I'm like, why are y'all drafting a guy who's never been good?
Quietly as kept, he had the same game as Joe Burrow. 19 to 28, 208, 22 to 41, 205.
Oh, yeah. Joe Burrow right now is holding on for dear life. And that team doesn't look
good.
That looks like a defeated win.
A loss. A loss, but a win. Joe Mixon. Looks like y'all miss him a lot. Y'all can't run the ball at all. Y'all can't run the ball.
Played yourself. And and the Texans got Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce, boy.
Smoking.
What about if the Texans turn out to be what we thought the Bengals were?
Par for the course. We always think the Bengals were going to be good. This is the same team that had Chad Johnson, TJ Hughes-Mazada, Hawkins,
Andy Dalton. They had AJ Green. They've had
everybody
a myriad of just,
and they keep losing. Normally they make the playoffs, but I mean, also their own.
Maybe the Bengals and Browns are just losers.
You sacrifice.
I hate
the
to
Bengals
say it
and
that
Browns
way
for Ohio State. That's what you did. Ohio State to be a perennial, everything team. The Bengals and Browns cannot be good. The Bengals should have won that Super Bowl. That's what really should happen. They had their chance to beat the Rams. You had a team that you could beat, and you lost. And then Raiders versus Steelers in a game where both number one receivers kind of under fire. George Pickens for the Steelers with his lack of effort and his black message and all of that stuff. And then Devontae Adams, who I guess they're trying to make business decisions on, according to the Raiders.
I heard they might not trade him either. This is all
trash.
And the Steelers a little bit less. But the Raiders this is poor organizational management.
Par for the course.
Once again, me and Reggie both have other careers outside of this, for at least now. Mm-hmm. With that said, I know I've been on record, and I'm sure Reggie has been on too. Devontae Adams and no quarterback doesn't work. Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are the equivalent of having no quarterback. And you know that Devontae is trying to win a Super Bowl, and you know that he wants targets and stats.
I push back on that. I'll let you finish, but I don't think he's trying to win a Super Bowl. You wouldn't have gone to Oakland. You wouldn't have gone to Oakland or Las Vegas.
He went to Oakland. He went to the Raiders when Carr was there. That's the guy who he's seen the most success with. That was the guy who's his college quarterback. That's his best friend. And
Stupid.
I can understand that. I can understand that to a certain degree. I see Joe Burrow. I see that. I want that. But as soon as you moved Carr, you should have moved Adams at that very moment. Once you split them up, you've already taken your loss. You have to understand that having two unproven guys who are fringe, who are backups, let's say it, they're both backups, and thinking that you're going to win or that was your strategy, I understand that the Falcons probably blew the draft when they picked Michael Penix. But you had enough time between the draft to do something.
Yeah.
And you did nothing. So, no, I'm not surprised by this. I'm not upset by this. This is poor management. This is teams being stupid.
Speaking of teams being stupid, Jaguars lost to the Bears soundly, actually. I believe this was in London, too. 35-16. Yep. Caleb Williams looks like he's actually taking a grasp of the offense. Trevor Lawrence, boy. Ooh. Now, to be fair, I watched this game a little bit. They had 4 drop touchdowns. 4. I mean, one hit Christian Kirk in the face mask. The other one, Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis, number 0. Christian Kirk. Who? Gabe Davis, number 0. You did all that yelling and being held back on the sideline last week to drop 2 interceptions and a first down this week.
Hey. You remember when they reset the receiver market paying Christian Kirk?
Stupid.
You think I give a damn about them? This team does stupid things. They love to be stupid, and this is the reason they're going to continue to struggle. Doug Peterson, I assume that your ass is going to get fired, and it's not your fault. It's whoever drafted Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones are the same person, but they're handsome white men, so they got contracts. That's the only thing you can tell me is positive about either one of them. So I'm happy to see them struggle. I'm happy to see them fail. And this is what I will call a stone cold Norwood. I told you so.
Yep. So the Texans, no need to talk about that. Drake Maye era starts in the Patriots, but the Texans beat them 41-21. We knew that was going to happen. Drake Maye had some good moments, but that was a wrap.
Yeah, this is going to be his opportunity to kind of cut his teeth. He did have a very pretty touchdown throw. I would have probably waited until the bye week. Sitting him out there with Will Anderson and the Texans probably, I mean, he survived it, so I guess it's okay. But that's not advisable if you want a guy to like exist and last a long time. But neither here nor there. I think that Mayo heard the calls, and I think that situation is interesting. I guess, I mean, the best thing you could do is probably be bad enough to get Travis. Christian Gonzalez and Travis Hunter surely make it for an interesting cornerback couple.
There's so many ways that you can go. They need a running back. They can get Jeanty. They need offensive line. They need defensive line. They need a corner. They need safeties. Like, they need everything. They need a rush in because they don't have
Shout out to Belichick for leaving them
bare
without anything.
Before we move on to the Lions and the Cowboys, San Francisco, 36-24. The Seahawks have lost 3 straight. Brock Purdy has another game of 3 touchdowns and 250, 300 yards throwing. And, of course, the 49ers run the ball. They had 228 yards by a myriad of people. I don't know what to make of this team. I don't know much about this team because their defense is still allowing a lot of points from what they used to.
Shanahan, I don't know if it's his dad. I don't know if it's him. I think it's a combination of both. They're running back kingmakers.
Oh, the
No
dad.
matter who
Zone blocking
plays
scheme.
that position, they're going to find. Because you got to think the kid Jordan Mason from Georgia Tech, who did not play, he's still second in rushing in the NFL, and nobody knew his name. They just find players. And as long as you run fast and hard into the zone that they show you to run into, anybody can be successful. That's the reason, even when you lose your lead guy in McCaffrey, then you lose your backup guy in Jordan Mason. Then you're like, oh, we'll just piecemeal it. Give me 6 people. We'll run 238 yards. This is a cheat code. This is unfair, and the rest of you guys just can't coach this well. That sucks.
Unless you're from their tree. Unless you're from their tree, you that zone blocking.
But even
scheme,
from the tree, you ain't that good. You're not doing what he's doing. Now I know Trent helps, but
Vikings
this
are 5-0.
is.
We'll get there. Detroit Lions. So San Francisco.
You got the difference. Hold on. The difference between those two is if you shuffle all the Vikings players, I don't think that they're still 5-0. The 49ers, give me 52 cards, let me shuffle the deck, and I can run it with this team no matter what. He's just proving it. You're on your 3rd running back now.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, Saints. Ha 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 ha. I don't care about the Bucs. I just wanted y'all to lose. It didn't really help us in the standings, but ha 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 ha. 51-27. Ha ha ha. Bucs team is pretty good. Baker's big mad.
I think that the Bucs and Saints are actually good teams.
I don't think the Saints.
The Saints without their starting quarterback, like Spencer Rattler, 22 of 40, 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That ain't for your first start. That's not terrible. You're playing about as good as everybody else in the NFL. Hell, you had a better game than Watson. Yeah. Now, the Bucs, I think, are legit. Sean Tucker, 14 carries, 136 yards. Bucky Irving, 14 carries, 81 yards. Then Godwin, 11 receptions for 125.
The Bucs are the team that you can't get down to. If you keep them in a close game, they're beatable. If you get down to them and you can't run the ball, that defense is hellacious.
And that's the one thing that was kind of unfortunate. You're playing the Buccaneers are mostly adults, and Spencer, you weren't ready for a team full of adults. You weren't really like that in a rivalry, inter-conference game, inter-division game that meant a lot. That's a tough place to kind of get thrown in.
Yeah. It was a lot going on. In one of the games of the day, you had you got a lot going on. All right. So you had Baltimore and the first place Washington Commanders in a game that actually lived up to the billing, where Baltimore won 30-23. At the end of the day, they relied on 2 people. The man that the Cowboys said they couldn't pay $8 million for, and Lamar Jackson. Those 2 running the ball are scary. Now, Derrick Henry leads
the scariest.
Leads the league in rushing touchdowns, carries, yards per game, longest rushing of the game. He is going to win the rushing title after they said he was too slow and too bad. And he's on pace to play in every game again, where he's only missed 1 season where he missed multiple games. In that season, he missed 8 games out of the 17, I believe. And
really, he shouldn't have played in none of them games because that team was already deep.
Yards. Derrick Henry has more rushing touchdowns than 24 teams. What he's doing, a motivated Derrick Henry, is scary. And we don't even have to. And they finally got Mark Andrews involved. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all.
They just trying to keep him around. You on the Kelsey track, bro. They're gonna phase you right on out of there, and your replacement is staring you right in the face. So this is interesting to me. This is a regular season game to me, which to me is I'm excited because what I thought I was gonna get out of CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson, I might get out of Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels. Everybody was like, "Oh, the Commanders playing so well." Me and Reggie both told you no. As good as they are, they're just not ready for a team like the Ravens. That's not a slight to them. That doesn't mean that they're not good. It doesn't mean that they couldn't be good in the future. But this was a game that I was very confident that the Commanders just could not win, and they didn't. Didn't play bad, but just didn't play well enough to beat the Ravens. Now, as far as the Ravens, congratulations.
That was the only difference.
Yeah, congratulations on a very good regular season game. And I'm happy to see he came back. He's successful. But I don't think that the Ravens are managing their best assets. They're not preparing for, we laughed about Embiid talking about back-to-backs. All of these carries for Derrick Henry to me, it just doesn't make sense. You're a team that's not worried about getting into the playoffs. You're a team that's worried about trying to go deep into the playoffs. And you just basically giving the ball to him and Lamar play after play after play. Very cool in the regular season. And seeding matters. But hoping that they're going to be healthy, games 18, 19, 20 when you need them, I hope and pray that they're in that good a shape, but the math tells me no.
Yep. And the other game of the week is over. Cowboys 47-9. 47-9. Never in the game. The game was never close. The closest the game was 0-0. The Lions came in, and I forgot that they felt some type of way after getting beat last year on Thanksgiving, after that controversial didn't sign in type player to show that he was an eligible receiver, and that's how they lost the game. They took that seriously. I don't know what Dan Campbell said to piss them off, but he pissed them off. And they were up 27-3 at 27-6 at halftime. At one point, it was 27-3. It was 37-9 in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they started running passes to Penei Sewell. They started throwing the ball to offensive tackles. It ended up going up 47-9.
They definitely have an issue with the Cowboys. They made it very clear, we're here to try to run it up on your ass, and we don't care who sees it.
Yeah.
The Bible left God watching. That's what they really did. No. Go back, because the other part is this is, and if it was somebody else, it probably wouldn't matter that much. But it's Jerry Jones' 82nd birthday. And when we talked about this on Saturday Morning Live, I picked the Cowboys. And it's not that I thought that the Cowboys were better than the Lions. It's just I felt like the Cowboys had enough gumption, I guess, or expectation, or just like, we can't lose to the Lions. And you didn't just lose.
I don't know why you thought that.
I understand that, but it's still, like I told you then, it's certain teams. It's kind of the same thing with the Ravens and the Commanders. No, we're just not losing this game. And
they made it to the NFC Championship game last year and should have won. You can't put them in that anymore. The Cowboys are 0-3 at home.
That is.
They have not won a home game this year. And they've been blown out a couple times. Now, they were so mad that Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jordan Lewis were going into it the whole game. And
they've gotten into it before.
Jordan Lewis DM Amon-Ra St. Brown and said that he's a B word after he posted a video on social media saying, walk in your trap and take over your trap, which was what they did.
He did. You can't get beat 47-9 and call somebody a bitch.
They
First of all,
walked all over you.
Let me clarify something. If you find yourself going into the DMs of the guy just beat you 47-9, I think you calling the wrong person a bitch.
Yeah, you emotional for sure. Ooh, you emotional.
You know how mad you got to be to get stomped out, and then like, oh, let me run to his DMs.
And you knew he was gonna post it. Why would you do that? You knew he was gonna post it. Like now y'all look like y'all already 3-3, 0-3 in the last at home. Y'all look like suckers.
Like and that is one of the most super chump. Like y'all gotta have enough self-respect to be like, I'm just not doing certain things. This is at the top of the list. You just got barbecued 47-9. Man. What do you think that you was going like? What did you think like? What do you think you were going to net after you called him a bitch? Like, okay,
you thought you were going to get it back.
You think that he's not going to,
which he didn't.
What the back and the forth was 4 quarters.
Yeah, it was. And rough
you
for
better
the
be glad. You better be glad St. Brown was raised by a decent human. Boy, it's something that might have cut your ass for that. It's some of these NFL guys is funny enough that you could have got in the fail clutch. But at this point, what are you doing? You've embarrassed yourself.
Would have cooked you.
Oh.
But the Lions didn't come out unscathed. They did lose Aiden Hutchinson. They say 4 to 6 months. 4 months is February, so they'd have to make it to the Super Bowl for him to even try to come back. He broke that leg, and it was friendly fire. He actually got the sack, and then his leg, while he was kind of, contorting his body, hit the Lions player defensive tackle's knee, and it broke. It broke like an icicle. Like, it broke.
Wrapped. That's one of those that, unfortunately, Twitter will always throw it on your feed. And you be like, bro, I don't need to ever see anything like this. And I feel bad for him because Aiden Hutchinson, I grossly mismanaged how good he was gonna be. He is good. He's actually better than advertised, which is super rare. And I mean, you got to give Detroit a lot of credit. They found their quarterback. They hit on the offensive lineman, hit on the defensive lineman. That is what damn near at least a third of the NFL is always trying to do. New York Jets. And just to see the leg break the way that it did, even J.J. Watt was like, yeah, that's horrific. Thoughts to that guy, get well soon. All of that, man, that sucks. He's been playing his ass off.
The Lions had a solid draft plan. They drafted all of their offensive defensive linemen, the stars. They drafted a bookend tackle in Penn Sewell. They drafted a bookend defensive lineman in Aiden Hutchinson. They drafted, really, the running back, plus paired him with a veteran in Jahmyr Gibbs. You drafted the speed guy, and James and Williams.
And sent off your old quarterback and got a good, younger version.
And you signed a quarterback at a discount. You signed a bunch of role players, but then you drafted cornerbacks. I mean, Terrion Arnold had a rough first couple games. He ain't really had any more bad games since then. Everybody that they've drafted, you drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown. Everybody that
you got
drafted
your coach.
Kept,
you got your coach.
You drafted Noah Fant. I'm sorry, not Noah Fant. Laporta. That Noah Fant was the year before.
Sam Laporta.
You got Laporta, who's getting involved. You have put together a team that could win for 5 to 7 years. This is your window. You have opened the window.
And you have chemistry that a lot of other teams just don't have. A lot of teams don't have. Like, even when they won this game, Jared Goff ends up giving the game ball to, what's the coach name? Dan. I just lost it.
Campbell.
Dan Campbell. And Jared Goff's like, this is the rock of our team. And I believe that. And for you to have all of those things, and I mean, I still think even with Aiden Hutchinson out, they're still a hell of a team. But that's just a big loss on your front four. That's tough.
Yeah, because he makes everybody else. He makes everybody else single coverage. Like, you have to double him. But don't matter now. We're going back to the game of the day for us. You see it.
Yes,
Victory Monday. Sir. The Falcons go to Carolina and handle business. I expected for them to win this game. I'm more impressed with how they won this game. After the first half, they completely shut down Carolina. Offense played well. For the first time that I can remember since having all of these pieces, we used all of these pieces. Bijan, and we'll get to Bijan and Tyler Algier. We'll get there. Drake London, 6 catches, 74 yards. Kyle Pitts, 3 catches, 70 yards. And he was blocking. Darnell Mooney had a quiet game but was clutch. 3 catches, 38 yards. Ray, 3 catches, 30 yards. Bijan out of the backfield. You had 6 different receivers catch the ball. When you pair that with these dudes right here rushing for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 by Bijan, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion by Algier. Now, we play like this on offense, we tough to beat. We can run the ball like this. Thank you, Zach Robinson, for finally doing what we've been saying the whole time. Give the ball to Algier, bro. Just give the ball to Allgeier, Algier, whatever y'all want to call him.
But this has always been my thing is I love Bijan. And what Bijan does, Algier cannot do. He cannot do it.
Outside zone.
But just that run between the tackles, hard nose. And Bijan can do it just to a lesser degree. And when you don't have Bijan doing that, you can get him more involved in the passing game, which is what I think the next evolution of this should be. I still ask for you to put all of the best players on the field at the same time. We still haven't got quite there yet. And early in the game, that's what the Panthers were doing that we were not doing. And it was pissing me off. They put both of their running backs. They had Miles Sanders and Chuba there together.
Deontay, Jatavion, Xavier Legette. They had everybody. They played. I thought they had 12 players on the field at one point.
And, I mean, let's be honest. They didn't play terrible that first half by any stretch of the imagination. And that part frustrates me a little bit of play all the best players at one time. With that said,
that second half, bludgeon.
Ray McLeod, excellent pickup. Darnell Mooney, excellent pickup. Guys who do they fucking job. Nothing more, nothing less. I came here to do a job. And I'm going to do my job. I'm going to star in my role. Now, that might be the only thing that I probably appreciate about getting those guys instead of maybe some of the other higher profile receivers is you got guys who are happy to work. They happy to come to work every day. Maybe this is my day. Maybe I'm Cordero Hodge and I catch the game winner at the end. Maybe I only get 3 targets, but I'm a star in my role. In the days that Bijan, like the people who we paid, we got to let them flourish. When it's my time, I'm ready. Kirk, 19 to 30, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 sacks.
Well, I will say good about offensive line. What I will say of this game that disappointed me was the linebacker play. Nate Landman was back, led the team in tackles, 8 total, 4 solo. But Caden Ellis, to me, has to be like our blitzing linebacker. He's got to be our defensive version of Taysom Hill. You just got to figure out a way to have him rush the passer because him in space ain't really the greatest. He was getting cooked by Chuba. And they were picking the wrong gap every time. The first half, every time. In the second half, I will say our run defense, once we got ahead and we kept running the ball, we kind of limited their time of possession so they couldn't do anything, which made them one-dimensional. We still got to figure out a way to rush the passer. Andy Dalton was sitting back there the first half just picking us apart.
No sacks with old-ass Andy Dalton is kind of – it's tricky because, we gave up no sacks, but we didn't get any sacks. It's kind of the way we play. And I don't – it's like, okay, I guess. I can't be mad, but I'm also not the happiest about it. Mm-hmm. But overall,
this was a great game. I mean, offensively, we play like this the rest of the year. No matter the offense that we play, whoever the opposing offense, you're not going to get the ball. You just won't get the ball. If we can run the ball 30 times, 33 times for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, ain't nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do.
And I don't think that this will be the recipe. I think that the thing that we have that most teams don't have is we're going to play you this week. What are you good at? Oh, you good at stopping the run? Cool. We're gonna throw the ball down the field, 500 yards. Oh, you can't stop the run? Oh, well, you're gonna get a double dose of Bijan and Tyler till they stress you out. And we could just play with whatever you're allowed to give us. Which, like, if you look at the Ravens, like you're right, that running game is unstoppable. Until you put 8 men in the box and then you force Lamar to throw the ball, then they're gonna have a problem.
Zay went for 130. Now, I will say that Ravens game was interesting because I forgot that Jonathan Allen tore his pec. And he actually went out. He's out for the season. That's when they kind of really, really got going back and looking at it. But, yeah, the Falcons, for the most part, man, we have some games coming up. We play the Seahawks, the Bucs, the Seahawks at home, at the Bucs, Cowboys at home, at the Saints, at the Broncos, Chargers at home, at the Vikings, at the Raiders, Giants at home, at the Commanders. We have a chance to probably win. We should win a majority of these games. That Vikings game is going to be stressful. That Bucs and Saints game is going to be stressful. And that Cowboys game is going to be stressful. We should at least go 4-4 at the minimum to end the season. But we shall see. Right now, we're number one in the division.
No.
We're
Hold
undefeated
on.
in the division.
16 games or 17 games?
Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, I skipped some. 4-4. Actually, we should go 7-4 to end the season.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now it definitely
5,
helps that
6,
end of
7.
season. That Raiders, Giants, Carolina, that's 3. We already at 4. That's 7. That's 7 we should just walk to. And then if we split the rest of them, if we split the tough games,
that's 10, 11 wins. That gets you the division.
Yeah.
So the Falcons are in a great spot. They're in a great spot. We'll talk more about them playing the Seahawks next week, which it'll be an interesting game. But if we can stop the run, because Seahawks can do it all. They can run, they can throw. They have a decent defense. Yeah. So we'll see.
See, and we're lucky enough, like our schedule's just better. Like the Bucs, you gotta go to play the Ravens this week. Then you play us again, stressful. Chiefs, 49ers, the Giants, Carolina, Las Vegas. Damn, that's like a 3-week bye.
Play all the same teams. Yeah, we just played all our
then
games at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be us and the Buccaneers. I think the Saints are probably done. But yeah, it should be a dogfight, and I'm happy. I'm excited. I only have one team that I can lean on, and it's the Falcons. Please don't let me down.
The unbeatens. I don't know why they have the Seahawks here. It's actually Buffalo
Bills.
Bills.
No, they stopped posting unbeaten when they get to who's still unbeaten?
Kansas City and Minnesota. Those are the last 2 teams that are undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. So we are now into the nitty-gritty. It'll be fun for the rest of the season. I think that's it.
Yeah, Minnesota and Kansas City.
That's it. Yeah.
Texans 5-1. I mean, we rocking and rolling along.
I think we're the number 3 seed right now. But ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of episode 162 of the Splash Cast Monday Night Raw. Norwood, if we ain't forget anything, take us out.
Man, thank you guys for rocking with us. Thank you, Reggie, for gracing us with your presence. Happy to have you back for sure. Always remember, of course, this is Monday, so Monday Night Raw. This will be out Thursday. Splashcast playlist will come out on Wednesday. Of course, y'all can always go back and listen and watch all of the old content. Outside of that, thank you guys for rocking with us. Number one, more black baseball, more healthy baseball. Please, healthy baseball. Number 2, more black cowboys and cowgirls. I saw some of the supporters out at the Bill Pickett rodeo, which is a tour that kind of goes around the country. That's been exciting to see. Just more black people into the rodeo. And then number 3, the historically black college university you went to, your cousin went to, your auntie went to, your uncle went to. Send some money over there. The historically black college in your neighborhood, the one that you go to for homecoming, step shows, to be around your people. Send some money over there. And then finally, it's almost homecoming. 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Send some money to the greatest learning institution in all the world, the Hampton University. The Hampton University. If you want to, just send it to me and I'll take it on by there. I give it to President Williams myself. I'll be like, hey, dog.
I used to pay rent with.
Yeah. Do whatever it is. Please support these HBCUs. Also, like Reggie said, man, cut the HBCU football game on, even if you're not going to watch it. You get up on Saturday morning, you cleaning the house, put it on. Do something. Support us. We got to be better about that. If we don't support us, nobody will. Outside of that, God is love. Adios, mi amigos. Until we meet again, adios, arrivederci.
We out of here. Peace. Love y'all.